While you're scrolling through endless self-help advice, a 2,000-year-old philosophy has been sitting there with the answers all along. Imagine feeling the same inner calm Marcus Aurelius maintained while ruling during a pandemic, or the dignified resilience Mandela embodied during decades of confinement. Their secret? Practical Stoic exercises that transformed ordinary people into unshakable pillars of strength. These aren't abstract concepts, they're daily practices that helped real people overcome seemingly impossible situations. Today, I'll share 3 powerful techniques that can revolutionize how you handle life's challenges, starting immediately. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe. What if I told you that most people completely misunderstand Stoicism? The moment you mention this ancient philosophy, people imagine someone cold, emotionless, with a face like stone, suppressing every feeling and walking through life like some kind of robot. This couldn't be further from the truth. This fundamental misunderstanding prevents millions from accessing one of the most powerful mental frameworks ever created. You're struggling with anxiety, stress, anger, or fear, and the solution has existed for over 2,000 years, but you've avoided it because someone told you it meant becoming emotionally dead inside. Let's clear this up right now. Stoicism isn't about eliminating emotions or suppressing feelings. The ancient Stoics never suggested we should become unfeeling machines. What they actually taught was that emotions are natural responses. They happen to us, they flow through us, but we have the capacity to understand them and choose how we respond to them. Consider this scenario. Someone cuts you off in traffic. Your immediate reaction is anger. Your heart rate increases. You tense up, maybe shout something. The Stoics recognize this initial reaction as a first movement, an automatic response beyond your control. But what happens next determines your day. Do you let that anger consume you, replaying the incident repeatedly until you arrive at work emotionally exhausted? Or do you acknowledge the feeling, understand it as a natural response, and then choose not to let it dominate you? This same principle applies when your boss criticizes your work unfairly. The initial sting of disappointment is natural, but the Stoic approach examines whether there's any useful truth in the criticism, recognizes that your boss's opinion is outside your control, and refocuses on what you can control: your effort, your integrity, your response. Modern neuroscience confirms exactly what the Stoics taught. Your initial emotional response happens automatically in the amygdala, your brain's threat detection system. But your secondary response, how you interpret and act on that emotion, happens in your prefrontal cortex, the center of rational thought. It's like having 2 systems: the alarm system that alerts you, amygdala, and the command center that decides what to do about the alert, prefrontal cortex. Stoicism helps strengthen the connection between these systems. Marcus Aurelius, Roman emperor and dedicated Stoic, wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." He wasn't advocating emotional numbness. He was highlighting our power to interpret and respond. The problem is that we've been taught to believe our emotions are our identity. "I'm angry" becomes who you are rather than "I notice I'm experiencing anger right now." This perspective shift transforms how you handle challenges. Stoicism is about living virtuously and finding inner peace by focusing on what you can control. The Stoics believed that by understanding what's within our power and what isn't, we could live more deliberately, ethically, and ultimately, happily. They were emotional masters, not suppressors. Epictetus, who began life as a slave before becoming a respected Stoic teacher, taught, "Make the best use of what is in your power, and take the rest as it happens." He's teaching discernment, understanding what deserves your emotional energy and what doesn't. Stoicism is misunderstood because emotional restraint looks like emotional suppression from the outside, especially in a world that celebrates emotional reactivity as authenticity. The Stoics weren't trying to feel less. They were trying to suffer less by distinguishing between useful and harmful emotional responses. They recognized that some emotions lead to constructive action, while others cause unnecessary suffering. Now that you understand what Stoicism truly is, a practical approach to handling life's challenges rather than a philosophy of emotional numbness, let's explore the first foundational exercise. This technique comes directly from one of Stoicism's greatest teachers and builds the essential skill of emotional awareness that makes all other Stoic practices possible. By learning to separate feelings from reactions, you'll take the first step toward an unbreakable mindset. Have you ever noticed how much mental energy you waste on things completely beyond your control? Think about your last week. How many hours did you spend worrying about the weather, stressing about what your coworker thinks of you, or getting frustrated about traffic? This constant battle against reality is exhausting you, and the worst part is, it's completely unnecessary. The first and most powerful Stoic exercise comes from a man named Epictetus. Unlike most philosophers who came from wealth and privilege, Epictetus began his life as a slave. Despite his circumstances, he developed a principle so transformative it can free your mind today, just as it freed his thousands of years ago. His insight was simple but profound. Some things are up to us, and some things are not up to us. This distinction, what's in your control versus what isn't, sounds obvious when you hear it. Yet most people live in constant frustration precisely because they fail to make this critical distinction every day. Consider getting caught in the rain without an umbrella. The Stoic response focuses only on what you can control in that moment: your attitude, your actions, and how quickly you find shelter. Let's get specific about what the Stoics considered within our control. Epictetus identified just a few things: our judgments, how we interpret events; our desires, what we aspire to; our aversions, what we try to avoid; and our actions. That's it. Everything else falls outside our complete control. What's not in your control? Almost everything else, other people's opinions, health issues. You can influence health, but can't control it completely. Economic conditions, natural events, and even the outcome of your own efforts. You can write the perfect report, but you can't control if your boss likes it. You can drive carefully, but you can't prevent others from driving recklessly. The problem is that most of us have these categories completely backward. We act as if other people's thoughts are within our control. They shouldn't think that about me. While treating our own emotions as if they're beyond our control, I can't help feeling this way. This inverted understanding is the source of so much unnecessary suffering. Here's a practical method to apply this principle starting tomorrow morning. Take 5 minutes for what the Stoics called morning preparation. Picture your day ahead and identify potential challenges. For each scenario, clearly separate what's in your control from what isn't. Write down specifically how you'll focus on your controllable elements. 4. Commit to accepting the uncontrollable without emotional resistance. For example, with a presentation, you control your preparation, delivery, and response to questions. You cannot control technical issues or audience reactions. By separating these elements like wheat from chaff, you stop carrying the heavy burden of the uncontrollable. This mental shift creates immediate relief. When stuck in traffic, the non-Stoic grips the steering wheel, honks, and feels their blood pressure rise. The Stoic recognizes the traffic itself is beyond control and focuses on their reaction, using the time for an audiobook or practicing deep breathing. This principle transforms how you handle life's challenges. When you stop fighting against reality, against what already is, you free up enormous mental energy. Situations like traffic delays, criticism, or bad weather haven't changed, but your relationship to them transforms completely. Why do most people feel overwhelmed by life's challenges when Stoics don't? Because Stoics focus exclusively on what they can control, while others waste energy fighting against the unchangeable. The average person spends their life in an exhausting battle against reality itself. The Stoic accepts reality as it is, then focuses entirely on their response. This principle creates both peace of mind and effectiveness. When you stop wasting energy on the uncontrollable, you become remarkably powerful within your sphere of influence. Your actions become more purposeful, your mind clearer, your emotions steadier. While the dichotomy of control helps you mentally prepare for challenges, understanding what's in your control is just the beginning. Next, we'll explore an exercise that actually strengthens your ability to handle discomfort, building the emotional resilience that makes you truly unshakable. What happens when you intentionally make yourself uncomfortable? Something that might surprise you. You get stronger in ways you never expected. Think about this. When was the last time you voluntarily did something difficult when you had an easier option available? If you're like most people, the answer is rarely, if ever. Voluntary discomfort is exactly what it sounds like, deliberately putting yourself in challenging situations when you don't have to. It sounds crazy to most modern ears. Our society prioritizes comfort and convenience, temperature-controlled environments, instant food delivery, and endless entertainment. But this quest for comfort weakens us mentally, just as avoiding physical exertion weakens muscles. Your mind, like any muscle, requires resistance to grow stronger. Without challenges, it atrophies, leaving you psychologically fragile when facing even minor inconveniences. Seneca, one of Stoicism's greatest teachers, understood this principle deeply. Despite being one of Rome's wealthiest men with a fortune estimated at 300 million sesterces, equivalent to billions today, he regularly practiced voluntary hardship. Once, during a winter voyage when his ship was caught in a violent storm, while other passengers panicked and prayed, Seneca calmly bathed in the cold sea water that had crashed onto the deck, demonstrating his practiced indifference to physical discomfort. He regularly took cold baths, wore minimal clothing in winter, and ate the plainest food possible for days. These weren't punishments, but deliberate training exercises. Other Stoics followed similar practices. Cato walked bareheaded in all weather. And Emperor Marcus Aurelius slept on a hard mat despite having access to every luxury. The psychological benefits of choosing discomfort are substantial. First, it reduces anxiety about potential hardships. When you've already experienced hunger through voluntary fasting, you no longer fear it. When you've already taken cold showers by choice, a broken water heater becomes a minor inconvenience rather than a disaster. Second, these practices generate immediate gratitude. After a cold shower, normal temperature feels luxurious. After sleeping on the floor, your regular bed feels amazing. After fasting, ordinary food tastes incredible. You reset your baseline for appreciation. Third, voluntary discomfort strengthens your willpower. Each difficult choice builds the mental muscle that enables tough decisions in every area of your life. Start with these simple practices. Take a cold shower tomorrow morning, even just the final 30 seconds. Skip a meal and observe your thoughts and feelings. Walk to a destination you'd normally drive to. Sleep without your pillow for one night. Turn off your home heating or cooling for a few hours. Pay attention to your mental response during these exercises. Notice the resistance, excuses, and negotiations with yourself. This internal dialogue is the real training ground. The physical discomfort isn't the goal. It's the mental training that occurs when you face discomfort voluntarily. You'll discover that most discomfort is far more tolerable than your mind predicted. Your brain catastrophizes, making you believe discomfort equals danger. But through direct experience, you learn that discomfort is just a sensation that rises and falls, neither harmful nor permanent. This practice prepares you for inevitable major life challenges. When facing job loss, health problems, or relationship difficulties, you'll have the mental strength to handle them without crumbling. Resilience isn't innate. It's developed through practice, like a weightlifter progressively increasing resistance. By intentionally facing difficulty, you prove to yourself that discomfort is survivable, reducing fear and building confidence. When you choose discomfort rather than having it forced upon you, you maintain control and agency over your life. As Seneca wrote, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." Now that you've learned to strengthen your mind through discomfort, let's explore how to apply Stoic wisdom to one of life's greatest challenges, dealing with difficult people. Because as powerful as physical discomfort training can be, the discomfort caused by challenging relationships often tests our Stoic resolve even more. What if you could end each day becoming mentally stronger instead of mentally drained? Most people collapse into bed with their minds still racing, replaying arguments, mistakes, and worries from the day. They wake up carrying the same mental baggage they had when they fell asleep. But the Stoics discovered a powerful practice that transforms your daily experiences into wisdom, turning even your worst days into opportunities for growth. This final exercise is the Stoic practice of evening reflection, a daily mental review that acts as a reset button for your mind. Taking just 5 minutes, it strengthens your ability to face tomorrow's challenges with greater clarity and purpose. Most people handle their mistakes in two counterproductive ways. Some obsessively ruminate on failures until they feel terrible about themselves. Others completely ignore mistakes to avoid discomfort. Both prevent growth. Rumination creates shame without learning, while avoidance ensures repeating the same errors. Seneca offers a better approach through his 3-part evening reflection. When the light has been removed and my wife has fallen silent, aware of this habit that's now mine, I examine my entire day and go back over what I've done and said, hiding nothing from myself, passing nothing by. He asked himself, what did I do well today? What could I have done better? How will I improve tomorrow? This balanced approach recognizes progress while identifying areas for improvement. By acknowledging successes, you reinforce positive behaviors. By examining mistakes without judgment,